with just brief introductions. Hi, I'm Guillaume Clough from CreateAppsHere, and today is another edition of our webinar series. Today we'll be talking about app marketing, and AJ right here, he'll dive into a lot of stuff where to prove to everybody that it's all about the method and the processes that you use to get people to know your brand, know your business, know your products, know your services. Yeah, AJ, the floor is yours.
Okay, awesome. So I suppose that the guys that watch our teaser last week already know who I am, and if not, I'll give you a quick recap. I served as VP Marketing of a mobile app producer a good couple of years ago, and today I run Appenue for the past 3 years or so. We deal with everything that has to do with marketing, branding, and giving a voice and tone to not just apps, but startups in general. And today we're going to talk about, as Guillaume said, we're going to dive into the world of indie dev app marketing. Everyone knows that unless you have like a large publisher, for example, if you're a game producer, then you don't really exist. There's no exposure for your app. Now, you couldn't be more wrong. There is exposure, and you can still get to the point that you have even millions of users. It would be harder than when you have a large publisher on board, but it's not as bad as most people think. It's still possible. It's still plausible. And you shouldn't be too worried about this. And we're going to delve into this in a couple of moments forward. So you can bring on the slides naturally so everyone can see. And we're going to talk a little about the indie dev market and app market in general.
Yes, just a moment. Let me get those slides up in here.
Problem?
Yeah, so basically what it is that we do is that throughout this marketing webinar, basically what AJ is going to prove to everybody is that you don't really need a major budget to get your marketing rolling. And like he just said, if you just really have a good strategy, a good method, and be consistent with everything, you can definitely already get some traction. And what AJ is going to do during this webinar is that he's going to really prove that like what certain methods are on how you can get this set up. And I'm just setting up the presentation, and then we should be able to get things rolling. Just a minute. And we are here. Yes. All right. And I'm sharing my screen now. Share screen. Here we go. All right. Can you see my screen?
Just a moment. It's still buffering. Can't see anything currently, unfortunately. But let's continue. Let's delve into mobile dominance naturally. So yeah, as you can see, we don't really need to go over this, but generally speaking, we're talking about a huge market. We're talking about that by 2025, the app marketing world will be worth a little over $6 trillion. That's tons of money on the table, and it's there for the taking. It's not just the large publishers out there, but it's everyone that's interested in producing good apps. It's naturally not just games. but apps in general. The strongest apps out there and the most lucrative ones are actually shopping apps. So naturally, those shopping apps are, the market is dominated by Amazon or AliExpress or eBay or whichever. But if you have a good e-commerce app, okay, you can still make very good money off it, and it's actually most experts, well, according to AppsFlyer, should strive to get organic buyer over non-organic buyers, which is
And
surprising.
explain to the people what the difference is, because from my side, I know organic,
Yeah.
organic users, organic buyers compared to the rest, but
Okay.
just to let the general public know what we're talking about.
So a paid customer or paid buyer is a person that you use some kind of paid method to get that person, like a Facebook ad, an AdWords ad. You paid money to get that person to buy something from you. While an organic one could be that you watch some video on Facebook, like you see those tasty videos, or you see, like a sushi bazooka kind of thing, and it went viral, and you have like 6 million people that already watched that video. They loved the video. They clicked on the link, and they got to your website, and it's not necessarily paid for. Because you can see that on Facebook or Instagram, you can see that it says sponsored. Once it's sponsored, it means that someone is paying money, and that's a paid ad. So an organic ad would be the people, for example, watch the video, like a viral video, you showcasing some kind of product, and then they clicked on the link on Facebook, or they went proactively, took the name of the product and looked for it online. Whichever the case is, that's an organic user acquisition. And it's the same whether it's on an app or someplace else.
Yes.
Now, the main reasons why people would be going organically would be that you send them an email or some kind of an in-app notification telling them, okay, there's like 5% off, 7% off, because it's like the 11/11, like AliExpress has this, there's this holiday in China called Singles Day. And Singles Day is like something as big as Black Friday in the United States. So you get like tons of coupons, and you get 5% off, 15% off, 20% off certain items. And organically, it means that they are either sent via some kind of in-app notification or email, or it could be that you get information from some chatbot on Facebook, or you just see some viral video that isn't sponsored. Whichever the case is, we're talking about that over 100% more revenue is guaranteed via organic customers over non-organic customers. So spending money on paid ads doesn't produce more revenue.
I think that is very important for everybody to know, because I think a lot of people are very, you can almost say, distracted by the way of going through sponsored ads, because Facebook basically has convinced a lot of people that if you don't sponsor it, we don't show it. And yeah, please continue.
Yeah, so it is true to some degree that if it's not sponsored, we won't be showing it, but that's not entirely true, because Facebook is giving way to more of organic exposure. You see like changes within the Facebook algorithm. A while back, if you didn't have some kind of Facebook group, you wouldn't see any posts, on your news feed. And now you can even see pages that you followed like 18 months ago, and you didn't see anything from them, and all of a sudden you get like tons of videos from them, like viral videos and whatnot.
Yeah.
Power of sharing. This is why it's important to use social media for organic user exposure and user acquisition. The power of sharing. If you share the same kind of video within 20 or 30 different groups or pages, or you got people just like sharing viral videos between one another, it becomes a trend. And once it becomes a trend, everyone sees that through their newsfeed, no matter where they're from. So, for example, I saw like Sushi Bazooka, as I said, because I was talking about, like making sushi at home. I don't know if it has something to do with, Facebook listening or not, that controversy a while back. But I saw this. It's called the Sushi Bazooka, went viral, and went straight to the website, like a small website I've never heard of called Blue Crate. And I just immediately bought it because it was exactly what I was looking for a good couple of years. So that's the power of organic user acquisition. I saw that, like 6,000 people already watched the video or whatnot, and it had like 150 shares. And I said, okay, this doesn't sound, like a fraud. It sounds good. I went to the website. I saw that, they have like all the SSL, and they got, PCI compliance and whatever. And I know, okay, and I can use PayPal. So, okay, I'm golden. I'm buying this.
Yeah.
Not everyone would be proactive as I was, because I had to go to the website. Now, this is a problem. You need to understand that even if you have a viral video, if there is no real CTA, like call to action in the form of a link, or like go to our website and get like 5% off with this coupon code, people will not be going to your app or to your website to do so. Okay, so you need to be smart about your call to action.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree with it. And you see it with regular ads, but a lot of people, they think that once they have the sponsored ad, they don't want to do the extra work. So yeah, that happens a lot. So startup marketing.
Yeah. So there isn't a problem with paid ads per se, but for example, if you have like a good post that already has tons of engagement on it, and then you decide to boost it, that would be the smartest thing to do. But if it doesn't have any kind of traction, it doesn't have any kind of engagement, boosting it won't produce any real results. You need to understand where your audience is, where your crowd is. This is naturally, an A, B, C, D test kind of thing, but you need to growth hack your business. By growth hacking your business, it means that you don't just use either AdWords or Facebook ads. It means you open your mind and start using maybe Twitter ads, or you use Twitter in general. You use LinkedIn, you use even Google+. Google+ is amazing for both SEO and ASO, because Google+ is part of the Google Suite, and it's part of Google Analytics, and it's part of Google AdWords. So, that's a no-brainer over there. Email marketing. Email marketing still works. If you have like a B2B kind of business, email marketing still works perfectly. Okay, go to forums, whichever. If you're an app marketer, there are like tons of relevant communities on Google Plus with over 100,000 people, and they have quite good engagement in general. They don't have the most amazing engagement, but they have enough good engagement for you to get, rankings from people, reviews from people, and the general MVP could be done through engagement groups in general. So growth hacking your business means that you don't just use the regular tools that people tell you to use. Okay, so it's like Facebook ads and AdWords and You need to spend at least $500 every single week to get the results you're looking for. That's not necessarily the case. Also, organic exposure here would be good description on, on the App Store, and even outside of the App Store. You need to do some hashtag research. For example, I use Twitter and Instagram, to promote the webinar. I used, hashtag app, hashtag indie dev, and hashtag webinar, and it produced amazing results. So you need to look for the right hashtags that, work for your app. Don't just use hashtags for the sake of using them. Use the right ones. Create some hashtag research and create some keyword research to produce good SEO and good ASO, App Store optimization. That way you'll get exposure, organic exposure for your app, and people would start talking about it. And it's like a snowball. It starts rolling and producing more and more traction, and it produces a real trend.
And explain to the people why it is important. Like, first, what is SEO? Like SEO, for the people that didn't know, stands for search engine optimization. And why SEO is so important. Okay.
So SEO, or search engine optimization, is the way your app or your website in general shows on SERPs. SERPs is search engine ranking pages, which means either the first page on Google, second page, whichever, they are called SERPs, S-E-R-P. The better SEO you produce, the better results you produce. So, for example, the right keywords can get to the point that, let's say, someone is looking for, I don't know, like I'm looking for the new iPhone. So the first thing you'll see on Google, when you go online, would be the ads. First of all, you'll see like Verizon or AT&T, and like the bundle that they produce for the new iPhone. And the first one that isn't sponsored, that doesn't say ad, that it's not painted green, is the one that has like the best keywords that correspond to what you were looking for. So the first one could be, for example, like GSM Arena. GSM Arena produces reviews about cell phones in general. And they also have like affiliate links naturally that go together with that. But the reason you see them as the first option is because their keyword research was so good, and they had enough people looking, for this string of keywords, that they were the first option when you wrote, I want to buy the new iPhone. Yeah. So this is SEO in general.
Yes.
Now, ASO, or App Store optimization, would be, for example, I'm looking for a calculator app, or you write calculator app for Android. The first option, which isn't a sponsored one, means that the same keywords or the same description, there's an app that corresponds to the keywords you were looking for, or the hashtags you were looking for. And that one is the App Store optimization. Why? Because it sends you directly to Google Play, to that same app.
Yeah.
Now that's considered mobile SEO. But App Store optimization, which means it's within the App Store, is you go to the search bar and you press calculator app, and the first one that shows, which isn't sponsored, okay, because it usually says that it's sponsored, is the one that corresponds directly to what you were looking for. It's not necessarily the best app. You need to look at the ranking, because sometimes you can write you write like calculator app, and it has only like 3.8 stars, the third, fourth, or fifth one actually has 4.5. You know, a better review. So this is one of the options of producing great App Store optimization. App Store optimization means that description corresponds to the keywords you were looking for, and you know, it has good ranking, and it has many people that downloaded the app. So it could be the reason that that one has 3.8 stars is because it has over 1 million downloads, and the third one is better, but it only has 100,000.
Yes.
So the first one would be at the top because it's considered better. And if you think about statistics, million and 100,000, there would be a difference in averages. Anyway.
Okay, let's roll into paid advertising, where, how, and all that good stuff.
Yeah. So paid advertising, many people say that, okay, because I have like an Android app, I should be on AdWords. That's not entirely untrue, but Facebook still produces better results. First of all, it's much cheaper than AdWords, and it has better reach than AdWords because you can also share, you know, ads. You can watch an ad, you can like the ad, you can engage with the ad and write something about it, and you can even share it with people. Something you can do with an AdWords ad, especially if it's like through Google Display Network. You know, you go on some website or like a mobile website, or you see it within the App Store or someplace else, and you see like an ad for something. This isn't something you can share. Because you can't share it, it's more expensive because it's rarer than on Facebook. So going to Facebook and running ads via Facebook, either through the audience network that many people do that, or going through Messenger and offering people to download your app, whichever the case is, Facebook is much cheaper. And Instagram is even cheaper. It's even cheaper than that. But it won't necessarily produce the same results you're looking for because Instagram is riddled with chatbots. And because so many, you know, like even large accounts over there either are automated and have like chatbots or whatever, it would be harder for you to actually get people to download the app, even if it's a great app. But it's an amazing tool for exposure. If you'll follow the largest, you know, the largest publishers on Instagram, for example, like Ubisoft, Supercell, Activision, you know, Activision Blizzard or Ketchup or whatever, you'll see that they have like huge following, huge trending organic ads and paid ads. Whichever the case is, they have like tons of engagement. Most of it is naturally automated and it's not real people, and it's problematic, and they know that. And this is why you should at least go organic on Instagram with your app. If you're not already on Instagram, be there tomorrow. But generally speaking, where we're talking about paid advertising, Facebook produces better results because it's shareable and it's trendable. And on AdWords, it's not. It's bidding. You need to bid. On Facebook, you don't necessarily need to bid high in order for your ad to go trending with even more people. You have the lookalike audiences, and you can produce even more lookalike audiences based on that. So it's better.
And try to explain, because that is something that Facebook, I wouldn't say recently introduced, but that is definitely something that a lot of people aren't familiar with, because if people just a couple of years ago started with the Facebook advertising, they're not particularly familiar with the lookalike audiences. So explain to people that you don't necessarily have to fill in too many demographics, but you can, how the lookalike audiences actually work.
Okay, so the lookalike audiences has some kind of first of all, you can get like discrepancies in general, and you can lookalike audience means that you're looking for similar people, similar people either when we're talking about like geographic distribution, people that speak English, or it could be people that are of the same age, or it could be people that, when you go completely lookalike, it means that they share the same traits, they talk about the same stuff, they are of the same age group, and they're interested in the same thing in a different country or even in a different region. For example, if you have like a local app, that is only relevant in California, and you're looking to like advertise it in New York, you can look for a lookalike audience in New York City that is similar to the one in California. So when you advertise to these people, it would be relevant for them because they're looking for the same thing.
Yes.
Now, it could be that they're looking for the same thing because they are originally from California and moved to New York. You need to be smart about it. Don't just do like lookalike audiences and say, okay, wow, it works amazingly well in New York, and then you check and all of the people in New York that you targeted are actually originally from California. So that's not what you're looking for necessarily. If you want to penetrate the New York market and produce real insights that you can say, okay, people want this product in New York. So even when you do lookalike audiences, you have like 1% through 10% generally. 1% means that it's the closest thing to the original audience, and the further you go, the less lookalike it becomes. So you need to be smart about it. Between 1 and 3% should be fine. More than that is irrelevant, and that's like a completely different audience. So for the guys that are using Facebook ads, you need to recognize lookalike audiences because it produces even cheaper results than the original results. It could be that originally you paid like $1 per click, and now you're going to pay 75 cents per click. So it's much cheaper, and you can use the same budget you had originally. You had like $1,000, but you produce more results because of it. You'll have 1,250 people, if my calculations are fine, instead of 1,000 for $1,000. So you use the same budget, but you produce better results.
Yeah, better conversion as well, right?
Yep. Yeah. Well, at least better results, not necessarily better conversion, but better results in terms of producing, finding the right people.
Yeah. Okay. Now let's go to the where and the how.
Okay. So the where and how in organic user acquisition, or UA. So I was talking about engagement groups in general. So you have engagement groups on Facebook or on Slack, and if people are not using Slack yet, now's the time. It could be relevant forums, it could be Google+, whichever the case is. Dedicated groups are groups that of relevant people who might be using the app or know people who might be using the app. So if it's a shopping app and you go to some like super deal website, or like super deals forum, or like super deals Facebook group or whatever, your app would be relevant for these people. Or for example, if you have like a great deal on chef knives, and you're going to Tasty, to Tasty's Facebook group, it would be super relevant for these people because these people are interested in food, usually are foodies, and whatever you're offering could be relevant for them. So these are the right dedicated groups. Now, as I said, it's great for brand advocacy. Brand advocacy means that people are familiar with your brand and they speak highly of it. For example, you have people that bought like a Dyson V10 vacuum cleaner, and the only thing they talk about is, wow, there's like an amazing option to buy it for 20% less. And I love my Dyson, and they review the vacuum cleaner on YouTube or IGTV or whatever, and they speak so highly of you, and you don't pay them any money for it. So it's not influencer marketing, okay? This is one option of influencer marketing, but real people giving organic exposure for your brand without you paying money for it. Now you need to harness it. You need to know how to harness it, you know, like sharing what they shared, or like saying thank you, and, you know, for everyone to see, oh, thank you for, you know, sharing our post on your page or whatever.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
Airbnb does a lot of, you can say, community content or community generated content, because
exactly.
their Instagram, none of their pictures are their own. They're clients' pictures.
Yeah, mostly. So it's either this or people, you know, taking pictures with some kind of product. Now, the more professional the picture looks, you can already understand that it's influencer marketing and not real people, you know, just talking about your vacuum cleaner being amazing. So if you're afraid, you know, as a client, if you're afraid that the product isn't good and it's just like influencer marketing and people paying money for it, you know, you need to address this as a brand. You need people to understand that even if you use influencers to market your products, that doesn't mean that the products are bad. You're not paying them money to say that a bad product is good, but you're paying them money to because it really is good and they really believe in the product. So it shouldn't be just influencer marketing. Other options, as I said, are, as you can see, a preliminary branding and launching campaign using Product Hunt as a must. So Product Hunt, unlike Kickstarter or Indiegogo, Kickstarter and Indiegogo are mostly there to produce some kind of crowdfunding campaign. They're great if you're looking to raise funds for your product. But Product Hunt is something different. Product Hunt is mostly a branding and exposure tool. Why? Because you can do pre-launch and launches of your products. Okay, you tell people about your product and you're looking for their insights about your product. Even if it's like in pre-launch state, you know, they got like the alpha version or beta version or whatever. It's amazing for apps. The largest companies use Product Hunt, including Google, Salesforce, Facebook, Apple, just to name a few. We're talking about even features within apps. So it's not necessarily just the app, but even features. So it could be apps, it could be website, it could be whatever. If you have something that is unique, or if you want to get exposure that doesn't cost any money, you can use Product Hunt just for it. Upload some videos, create some great description, and start running it a month or 2 months before you start launching your app. And then you can start you know, like doing some paid advertising for your Product Hunt. Okay, so what, and people get notifications, you know, the hunters, they're called hunters, you know, the people that liked and reviewed your app or whatever on Product Hunt, they get notifications once it goes live. So it creates amazing exposure for your app. It creates amazing exposure for the brand in general. So if you're not there, you should be, and at least a couple of months before your real launch.
Yeah. Okay.
And naturally, we also talked about marketing automation tools. So you got Jarvie and you have other automation tools. As I said, you know, on Instagram, you got all the chatbots and automation, but these still are great for exposure. Also, you got like Instagram repost. If people are not familiar with Instagram repost and similar apps, It's an app that allows you to repost, like videos or any other links that are not your own, and tag the original person that posted it. So it can create some huge buzz within more than one account. For example, if you're an affiliate even and you have like 5, 10, 20 different Instagram accounts that you run, once you do reposting, you can actually amplify the same message through different accounts. So you have like 10 or 20 people sharing the same thing at the same time, so it becomes a trend. And then instead of having only 10 people that liked your video, you have 50 or 100 people that liked it. Yes. So it's amazing for exposure, and it doesn't cost any money.
Okay. All right. All right, we're gonna move a tad bit quicker because we're almost running out of time. All right, user acquisition versus retention. I think this one is very important because I believe a lot of people mix those two up, where people either want to, okay, retention, that's where people get where the users stay on the app, right? Yeah. But once they answer that question, they get all mixed up on what acquisition actually is. Please explain those two words and why it's important to take care of both.
Okay, so user acquisition, as we said, is the steps you take before a person becomes a client. Okay, so that is user acquisition. You acquire the user. Whether you use organic means, you got that person interested in your product via Facebook, or it could be through Product Hunt, or whichever. You made that person use your app. Now, retaining that person means that, we always look, we go to the Play Store and we see this app that has like 5 million downloads already. And then you look at, the timeline of those downloads. Now, there's a huge difference between having 5 million downloads within 6 months and 5 million downloads within 2 years. And people tend to delete apps and stop using them after a few days. Because, it's not what they were looking for. There are too many ads, whichever the case is. So when you want to retain those clients, you need to use third-party data and not just like Google Analytics or Mixpanel to understand what people were doing. So you use like UXCam, or you use AppsFlyer, or you use whichever the case is. You're looking for products that help you in understanding why people decide to leave the app, what is called churn rate, and to understand the LTV, the lifetime value of your client. How much a client is worth to you. So retention is keeping that person using your app for a longer duration of time, either for better lifetime value or for whichever the case is. So you have like tools like NPS tools, what's it called? Net Promoter Score. So Net Promoter Score is, for example, you send surveys to people using the app, asking them, do you like the new features? What do you like about the features? Where you're from? To understand what kind of people are actually using your app, what they're looking to use it for, and how you can make their experience better. So this is the user experience naturally. And you have retention tools, which is like remarketing tools. A person downloaded the app, deleted the app, and then you start chasing that person that already deleted it, trying to make that person reuse it. Or you have a person that already uses the app haven't used the app for 7 days straight, you decide to send some kind of notification to that person and telling that person, okay, if you use the app today, you're going to get like 5% off this offer or something along those lines, just to make them reuse it. So the best one in user acquisition is Facebook, and then it's Apple. So if you're a master of the iTunes App Store, you're golden. Now, Twitter ads are amazing for remarketing because they're CPC based. So it's cost per click. There are no impressions here. So if a person saw the ad and didn't click it, didn't pay for it. So in terms of ROI, it's better to use Twitter for that. And this is the best retention tool that isn't, some kind of in-app analytics tools such as Mixpanel, UXCam, or Google Analytics.
All right. Now let's see, because what we can do for you. So I think this is key for everybody that watches this webinar, because basically what AJ and I are doing, we're combining the technical expertise that I bring to the table, combined with the marketing and business expertise that AJ brings to the table. And what we want to do is really give you a few options, as you can see right here, to choose what fits best for your company needs right now. So AJ, run us through what we got for these lovely people.
Okay, so what we got here is naturally Appenue is a one-stop shop for SMEs and startups. So we do market research for you, understand who the key players are, what their weaknesses are, what their, what you can do, what kind of gimmicks you need to be using to be able to acquire users on the expense of those competitors, understanding your competitors and the environment. So if you're looking to enter a different market than your own, for example, you're in Amsterdam and you want to go to the States, you need to understand where you should start. Maybe you should start in New York, maybe you should start in Los Angeles. Maybe your app isn't ready for global expansion just yet. You might need to wait 6 months or a year to understand, what's going on. Branding, voice and tone, copywriting, microcopy, and UX in general. So voice and tone means the way you are perceived by your users. For example, if you're trying to promote your app to people 13 to 18, or if you want to promote your app to people 25 to 35, you need to use a different kind of voice and tone. So like a different kind of language. You need to use different slang, different lingo, different, also if, you have like 13-year-old kids and you have people that are college professors, you can't use the same tone with them because they might find it offensive, and you might need to use euphemism or simpler words. So you won't be writing acquisition, you're going to write like buying something, because they might not understand what acquisition is. We also create marketing strategy for you, whether it is marketing material, promotionals, whichever the case is. So it could be PR, it could be PR, it could be the ads themselves, it could be where should we start? Should we start on Facebook? Should we start on Instagram? Should we start on Twitter? Maybe we need to use forums. Maybe we need to use television, radio, whichever the case is. These are among the things that we're using and offering to people. And naturally, community management, managing the community for you, you're speaking on your behalf. Facebook, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, whichever the case is. Because sometimes you just don't have that.
Yeah, and I think the community management is very helpful for a lot of people, especially as it pertains to an app or a business that is very socially oriented or really adds value, this one can be, yeah, very, very important. But people underestimate this one a lot
Yeah.
because once they see it, it's like, oh, that's all you got to do. So what is your experience when you do community management for clients
Okay.
typically?
So community management, again, when you want to produce real brand advocacy and, getting people to talk about your brand and reaching out to the community, you need to understand that community management is producing envoys within your own community. You create a community around your brand, around your app. Like, for example, go on Facebook and look at the Coca-Cola page. There isn't a single ad on the Coca-Cola page. Why? Because they want people to, post pictures of themselves drinking Coke. They don't want you to go to the store and buy Coke. They want you to say, I'm so happy drinking Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
So this is the brand advocacy that you're looking for, because once they post themselves, drinking Coca-Cola or whatever, you'll have other people doing the same thing. So the community management is like saying thank you to the people, or telling them that Coca-Cola has now collaborated with, I don't know, like Make-A-Wish Foundation to help, I don't know, like kids with cancer, God forbid, in chasing their dreams or whatever. So you create some kind of a community around your brand. I call it a value bonfire.
All right, all right. So here is our offer for the webinar attendees.
So
We'll
yeah,
leave it up here. So 1 hour worth of free brand auditing to see what you may have overlooked. I think this one is very important for everybody, but also doesn't need to be underestimated, because at the same time as you may think you have one problem, we might come out of the session where you notice you have 5 problems. So yeah, it can happen. It can happen. 50% off of branding and marketing package for clients who signed up with CreateAppsHere with us, and connections to the Israeli startup scene. Don't underestimate this, because it's always great to go international. Just like how AJ right now is in Israel, I'm here in Amsterdam. It is all about making the right connections with knowledgeable people that really know what they're talking about. And last point, 25% off for creation of investor decks and pitches, especially for startups that are looking to get to that next level. This is really important, because although a pitch deck is basically just a presentation highlighting your business, a lot of people still get it wrong. And although they might have a good product or a good service, a good business, they still don't get selected because their pitch deck doesn't really highlight their strengths and the opportunities for interested investors. So always check that out. And yeah, so don't be a stranger. Connect with the both of us on our social media accounts. Where both of us are on LinkedIn, at Appenue, at CreateAppsHere, Facebook the same, Twitter the same. We keep it real simple. You can always connect with us. And where both of us are really always super excited to meet new startups, new entrepreneurs. And for us, it's really important that you're also as committed as we are, so that we can really go the distance with your business. So any further questions or whatnot, it's easy, AJ at appenue.com or Guillaume at createappshere.com. And yeah, so like AJ said, grow from 6 to 7 figures in 2018. Shooting for the moon.
We still got time. We still got time. Still got time.
All right, all right, all right. So we still got 4 minutes. So in those 4 minutes, I'm gonna ask a few questions with regards to your personal goals for 2018. Like
Ooh.
with Appenue, what do you want to accomplish?
Okay, so naturally, what we're looking to accomplish this year is we want to grow our, our clientele, our clientele base. Naturally, more clients, but larger clients. So we got to the point that I just recently came back from Belgium, and I met a good couple of larger businesses that make 7, 8, or even 9 figures a year that weren't sure about their marketing strategy and what they need to do to scale up. So Appenue doesn't want to just help the startups in general. Don't get me wrong, we love the startups, but once we get to the point that we even understand what enterprises have, what kind of problems they have, it would be better for startups because we can use startups and connect those startups with those enterprises to produce better results for both the enterprise and the startup. The startup gets thousands of relevant users within a moment, and the enterprise gets to the point that it produces better results for itself. It could also, end with some kind of merger or an acquisition for the startup. So it could be a startup that started humbly like a year ago and now is being sold to some larger company for $30 million. So whichever the case is, we want to be there to help you guys in producing better results for yourselves and naturally better results for Appenue.
Yes, and I think that's why our collaboration is pretty good because that is also what we're looking at, just to continuously add value to entrepreneurs, startups, but mostly to businesses in general.
Mhm.
Because just how every entrepreneur is ambitious, we are continuously ambitious as to the goals that we set year in, year out, day in, day out, and so on and so on. So yeah, I completely see that vision, and no doubt that we can definitely reach those set goals. And last but not least, um, as it pertains to app marketing, what do you see as the biggest trend so far? And what do you think is next with regards to app marketing?
Okay, so recently app marketing has, well, in terms of paid options, video ads still are super relevant. So producing a good video for your app, either you playing or just like generally showcasing the app in general would help in producing better exposure for it. So it's not just about the pictures. Okay. Now for app marketing in general, apps are replacing websites. So within the
Yes.
next 20 years or so, most people would be consuming the media through apps. So great user experience produces better engagement within the app, produces much longer lifetime value, and naturally a much lower churn rate. So this is what you should be looking for in 2018 and towards
Beyond.
2025 when the market becomes $6.3 trillion, or even more.
Yeah. Okay.
By the
Okay.
way, currently it's worth a little over 930 billion. So 6.3 means that it's around 7 times as much money by that time.
Yeah.
That's
Good things to look forward to.
yeah. So there's a lot to look forward to next
All right.
years.